When we started our investigation, we decided to examine how members of Parliament define their job.
We wanted to see how they interact with their constituents and analyze the work they were elected to perform.
My first stop took me to my hometown of Winnipeg.
It's an old notion in Winnipeg, you know, if you're asked, where do you live? It's north of the tracks. People say, ooh, how come you live in the north end of Winnipeg? There's a stigma associated with it that it's just... We need the support of government more than the south end of Winnipeg needs the support of government. So it is about time, especially given the surplus of this federal government, that it reinvested in housing and helped communities like this one help themselves. I'm in politics because I believe government has a role to play in ensuring equality of condition. What's required is an MP who is prepared to acknowledge the work that's going on in community and support those efforts and give voice to those concerns. I think the role of an MP is to empower people who feel vulnerable and hopeless and helpless. And if I can give people voice so that their concerns are recognized and acknowledged and translated into action, I will have done my job.
Everyone hopes that their member of Parliament will bring their interests and the interests of their region to the attention of the government. That, in theory, is what is supposed to happen. In Nova Scotia, we met a popular former MP who, after recently vacating his seat for his party leader Joe Clark, was campaigning to again carry his constituents' views back to Ottawa.
Good afternoon and welcome to the first of two open line shows we'll be doing as part of Decision 2000. First up is Scott Brison of the Progressive Conservative Party.
Citizens of Kings-Hants, as your MP, I worked hard to ensure your concerns here were my concerns in the House of Commons, and that your views and interests were represented effectively and, when necessary, aggressively on the floor of the House of Commons and in the Finance Committee. While I was fighting for you...
We asked how he knows that his constituents are happy with his work.
You know, on the night of the next election, it's very difficult to say on an ongoing basis whether or not your constituents know or appreciate the work being done on their behalf. I've made it my policy to listen to my constituents here and to speak in Ottawa, to use my ears in Nova Scotia and to use my mouth in the House of Commons.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the intel for the tide of mine. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
They want to ensure that their voices are heard in Ottawa, and it's not simply represented by Ottawa's representative to them, that in fact their member of Parliament should be their representative in Ottawa.
Because you're mine, I walk the line. Better to send me to Ottawa than to send me to Nashville. All the best.
Oh, we got a little bit of snow. Not enough to slow us down.
During the 2000 election, we caught up with Brian Tobin, one of Canada's most recognizable politicians. He had just quit his post as Premier of Newfoundland and been appointed Minister of Industry in the Chrétien government.
How are you?
Good.
Where'd you get that nice tan?
Cuba.
Oh, that'll do.
We wanted to understand how he balances the responsibility of overseeing a $4 billion budget on behalf of all Canadians with the needs of his electors in one of the country's poorest ridings.
I'm going back there. I can't be stopped.
What keeps me going? The chance to play some role in improving the circumstance of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador and play some constructive role in Canadian political life.
The job of a member of Parliament is not to go to Ottawa and be a minister first, and is not to go to Ottawa and participate in the national government first, or in the media, or anything else. It's to remember the ridings. Do your best to work with people, their individual problems and communities, and their problems and potential. And that's what I really wanted to assure you. So I'm here looking at my boss. I got my application on your desk, and you're assessing it. And I'm asking you to give me a chance to work for you.
What can you do as Minister of Industry that you couldn't do as a Member of Parliament?
I'd prefer not to talk about what members of Parliament can do versus what ministers of industry can do. I think that is that's an unfair way to characterize the role of MPs. I think that all MPs can make a valuable contribution. As the Minister of Industry, I'm going to make sure that my own area, Bonavista-Trinity-Conception, becomes an example of what can be accomplished when we bring the information highway, the actual infrastructure associated with it, to rural communities. I can't promise everybody everything they want before I get there, but we'll certainly work hard.
All the best now. Hope you consider me on Monday, sir.
I'll consider you, boy.
That's fair enough. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, this one looks dark. If somebody want to knock that, I'll get that one with the light up there.
The role, as well as the inclination of an MP who's from the opposition, is to criticize. But what about the members of the governing party? What is their role? To find out, we track the progress of a third-term political foot soldier from the backbenches of the Liberal Party, REG ALCOCK.
This is just what you expected on a Tuesday night, right? No, not at all. I represent 60,000 voters, 100,000 people in this area. There's a huge diversity of opinions.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
People, they read the papers, they follow the news, they know what the issues are. So if we're debating a particular issue in Ottawa, you can be certain I'm going to receive a flood of mail on it from people in my riding. And it helps me understand how their opinion fits with the direction it's going. And quite often, I'll walk into caucus with a handful of these letters, and say to the Prime Minister, Prime Minister, my riding, I got, I'll start to read from them. This is what happened. This is what happened. I can stand here and tell you what a wonderful government we are and how terrific life is and all of that kind of stuff, but you know all that. I just would like to know the other side of that. Are there particular questions that you'd like me to address?
So how soon can we expect to get relief with pharmacare?
This is a big system. I don't know how quickly you'll see there's a sense that there's a great deal of apathy in politics. I don't believe that's true. I think what there has been is a lot of bad strategy about how you talk to people. I get the highest amount of handwritten mail of any MP in Ottawa. Not because I'm terribly magical, but because I work at it. You say to people, come, it's your country, get involved. They will get involved.
In Edmonton North, it is hard to miss the presence of Member of Parliament Deborah Gray. With her trademark Canada flag jacket, forthright media presence, and down-home personality, she's been a light to both the Reform Party, where she was the first MP ever elected in 1989, and to the current Canadian Alliance Party. This is one of your duties as a member of Parliament.
It sure is, yeah. And just a wonderful bunch. I was just here maybe 2 weekends ago, I forget, because they had their big craft sale too.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time of year for craft sales and all that. So they're just a good bunch.
You mentioned your close connection with your constituents. Is it intuitive knowledge that allows you to make decisions on their part in Ottawa?
Partly it's intuitive, for sure. Partly it's the level of respect that I've been able to build up over several years as a member of Parliament. I spend constituency hours. I will continue to do that and continue to hold town hall meetings. It seems to me that once a member becomes a member of the government or a cabinet minister, all of a sudden they're not so sure they want to hear from the people. I love hearing from the people. I will never quit that.
We'd like to find out certainly a little bit more about your own professional stance on the arts as well as your party. If the Alliance does form the government or...
My constituents can expect this from me, exactly the same that they always expected from me, and that is to go down, make some noise, make sure government is accountable, make sure they're responsible. It's a huge and awesome task, but at the same time, I often laugh with my family or my husband and I say, why is it that God chose me to do this? And I say, why me, Lord? And you often get the voice back saying, why not you? You don't want to mess with that.
So what happens when voters send a separatist to Ottawa? Two-term Bloc Québécois member Richard Marceau was elected to make the federal government work for his constituents, regardless of their political views.
Ont malheureusement touché beaucoup de gens. Ont dévasté des régions, ont dévasté des familles.
It doesn't matter what political opinions you have. I'm at the service of the people. But they elected me knowing that I'm a sovereignist, that I want Quebec to be an independent country. So I use my office as a bully pulpit, to use an expression used by Theodore Roosevelt.
Ça n'a pas de bon sens cette affaire-là. Il faudrait faire en sorte plutôt de transférer l'argent au Québec qui va la gérer mieux que créer une autre bureaucratie.
It's mainly having a dialogue between me representing half of the population of Quebec, basically we're sovereignists, between 45 and 50, depending on the surveys, and the rest of Canada.
Merci beaucoup de votre accueil. Mesdames,
First of all, sovereignty is a legitimate project. It's shared by almost half of Quebecers. There are logical reasons for it. We're not going on a whim or saying, you know, we're not off the deep end. And you have a sense in lots of parts of Canada that if you're sovereignist, basically you're stupid.
Puis votez. Yes.
You say that 45 to 50% of people in Quebec are sovereigntists. There's more than half that are not sovereigntists. So how do you go ahead and represent them?
Whenever somebody comes in my office and say, well, I need your help, and oh, by the way, I voted for you, I said, it doesn't matter. I'm the servant of everybody in my riding.